The alarm screamed through the communications tower for the 7th time that day. Dejo barely looked up anymore. His long fingers moved across the holographic display, routing emergency broadcasts. From the surface below, each message was the same. The Kryn were getting closer. More cities had fallen. More lives were gone. He sat in a chair that was too small for his tall, thin frame. Velryn were a graceful species with silver skin that reflected light like water, but there was no grace left in Dejo now, just exhaustion. His eyes, large and dark like pools of ink, stared at screens filled with death. "Count, Sector 79 has gone dark," said the computer voice. It spoke in flat, emotionless tones. Dejo felt nothing he had learned not to feel 3 days ago, when the bombardment started. Feeling only made the pain worse. The Kryn swarm moved like a plague across his world. They were insects, but massive ones, each the size of a transport vehicle. They came in millions, eating everything, metal, stone, flesh. It did not matter to them. They consumed and moved on, leaving dead planets behind. The Galactic Council had sent their regrets. They said the Velryn system was lost. They said evacuation was impossible. They said many words that meant the same thing. You are going to die and we will not help you, Dejo. The voice came from behind him. Elder Yuna stood in the doorway, her silver skin marked with age patterns that showed wisdom. She had lived 300 years. She had seen much, but even she looked broken now. Elder Dejo said, standing quickly. Respect for elders was coded deep in culture. Even now, sit, child. There is no time for ceremony. Yuna moved to the window. Below them, the planet burned. Orange flames lit the night where cities used to stand. I know what you were thinking. Dejo froze. Elder, the archives. Section Omega Black, you accessed them yesterday. Yuna turned to face him. Her eyes were sad. You found the frequency. You, he could not lie. Yes. The Earth channel, yes. Yuna closed her eyes. Do you know why it is forbidden? Do you know why the Council made it illegal to even speak of humans? Dejo had read the files. He had spent hours going through classified documents that he should never have seen. The Harvest Wars 200 years ago, Earth ended them. Clear's throat ended them. Yuna repeated softly. Such gentle words for what actually happened. The galaxy was being torn apart by slavers. The harvest fleets took entire populations. Billions died. Then Earth found out. They had just discovered faster than light travel. They were new. We thought they would be weak. She walked to his console and pulled up an old image. It showed a human warship. The design was brutal, covered in weapons. They were not weak. They were furious. They did not ask for permission from the Council. They did not follow the rules of engagement. They simply hunted down every harvest fleet and destroyed them completely. Then they found the slaver home worlds and burned them. They saved the galaxy, Dejo said. They terrified the galaxy, Yuna corrected. Yes, they stopped the slavers. But the way they fought, Dejo, they used weapons we had banned for 1,000 years. They showed no mercy. They did not accept surrender. They made examples. When it was over, every species in the galaxy signed one agreement: never provoke humanity, never give them a reason to fight again. So Earth isolated themselves. They went home, and we promised never to call them. Another alarm. Dejo looked at his screen. The Kryn had broken through the northern defense line. They would reach the capital in 6 hours. They would reach this tower in 8. My family is in the capital, Dejo whispered. Yuna said nothing. My mother, my sister Boa, her children. His voice cracked. Elder, the council abandoned us. The other species will not help. We are going to die, all of us. The Kryn will eat our world and move to the next. And no one will remember we existed. That may be true. Then what does it matter if I call Earth? What is the worst that could happen? They say no. They destroy us. Dejo stood, his voice rising. We are already destroyed. Worst that could happen, Yuna said quietly, is that they say yes and you learn what price salvation carries. Before Dejo could respond, a new alarm sounded. This one was different, louder. Final, the orbital defense grid had fallen. The Kryn were entering atmosphere. He pulled up the camera feeds from the capital, his screen filled with insects, millions of them. They covered buildings like a living carpet, and everywhere they touched, matter dissolved. He watched his city die in real time. He searched the feeds, desperately looking for his mother's district. When he found it, the buildings were already collapsing. Figures ran in the streets, small figures, children. The Kryn fell on them like rain. Something broke inside Dejo. The part that had held him together, the part that had kept him functioning. It shattered completely. He did not remember crossing to the forbidden console. He did not remember entering the classified codes. His hands moved automatically. Muscle memory from training he should never have had. The Earth emergency channel was old, ancient by galactic standards. It had not been used in 200 years. His fingers found the activation sequence. Yuna grabbed his arm. Deho, please think about what you are doing. He looked at her. Tears ran down his silver face, catching light like falling stars. I am thinking, Elder, I am thinking that I cannot watch another child die. I am thinking that I would rather invite monsters than do nothing. He pulled free and pressed the transmission button. The channel opened. With a sound like thunder, Dejo spoke into the microphone, his voice steady. Despite everything, this is system galactic coordinates 773 Mark 825. We are under attack by the CR swarm. Council has abandoned us. Billions are dying. Please, if anyone is listening, if Earth is listening, someone help us. Silence followed, long and terrible. Dejo slumped in his chair. He had broken the galaxy's greatest law, and no one had answered. Then the speaker crackled. A voice came through. Human male, speaking in perfect galactic standard. Message received. Velran System, Earth Defense Command acknowledges your distress call. We are responding. Hold your position. Help is coming. The transmission ended. Dejo and Yuna stared at each other in the darkness of the tower. Outside, the world burned, but somewhere in the void between stars, humanity was waking up, and the galaxy would never be the same. Admiral Hansal was dreaming of his daughter when the call came. In the dream, she was 5 years old again, laughing as he pushed her on a swing. The war had not happened yet. He had not seen the things that haunted him. His hands were clean. The alarm pulled him from sleep. He sat up in his quarters at Earth Defense Command, Seoul Military District, 3:00 in the morning. Alarms at 3:00 in the morning were never good news. His personal communicator buzzed. The face of General W. Schick appeared and Hansel knew immediately that something was very wrong. W. Schick looked frightened. The general had fought in the harvest wars. Very few things scared him anymore. Channel Wick said without greeting. Hansel was already pulling on his uniform. Which channel? The emergency channel, the one we left open 200 years ago. Han Solo's hand stopped moving. That is not possible. The galaxy knows better. Someone did not know or did not care. Velron system, they are being destroyed by the Kryn swarm. The message came through 20 minutes ago. One Schick paused. Command already sent an automated response. We told them help was coming. We told them. Hansel felt anger rising. Who authorized that? Protocol did. The system responded automatically. We never shut it down completely. One Schick's face was grim. The president is being woken. Emergency council in 30 minutes. Get here. The screen went dark. Hansel finished dressing in silence. His reflection stared back from the mirror. He was 53 years old. Gray touched his hair now. Lines marked his face. Scars from the harvest wars crossed his left arm, visible when he rolled up his sleeves. The command center was chaos when he arrived. Officers ran between stations. Holographic displays showed the Velron system 847 light-years away. Red markers indicated Kryn forces. There were thousands of them. President Jai Wu stood at the central display. She was younger than Hansel, barely 40, but she had won the global election by a massive margin. The people trusted her. She turned when Hansel entered. Admiral, tell me this is not real. I wish I could. Madam President, she gestured at the display. The Velron planet rotated slowly, covered in red markers. How bad is it? Very bad. The Kryn are a consuming species. They eat everything. Thuran population was approximately 8 billion. Current estimates. He checked his data tablet. 2 billion. Remaining maybe less. Ju closed her eyes. And the Galactic Council has declared the system lost. They are not responding. Of course they are not. She opened her eyes again. How long since we had contact with the galaxy? 197 years. After the harvest wars ended, we went home. The council asked us to leave. We agreed because they were afraid of us. Yes, Madame President. They were very afraid. The door opened, and more officials entered. Defense Minister Sang Min, Intelligence Director, Uni Ambassador Cao Su, who handled what little contact Earth still had with the wider galaxy. They gathered around the display. Cao Su spoke first. We need to discuss the implications of responding. If we send ships, we break 200 years of isolation. The galaxy will react. Some species still have nightmares about us. Let me be clear, Ju said, her voice cutting through the room. Are you suggesting we ignore a distress call, that we let billions die because we are worried about politics? I am suggesting we consider all factors, Madame President. I have considered them. Jaiwu touched the display, zooming in on the Velron planet. Cities burned in the images. We isolated ourselves because the harvest wars changed us. We did terrible things. Necessary things, but terrible. We needed time to heal, to remember who we were before we became killers. She looked around the room. Have we healed? I do not know. Maybe we never will, but I know this. If we let innocent people die because we are afraid of ourselves, then we are not the people I thought we We are not the people we should be. Sang-min leaned forward. If we respond, it sets a precedent. Every species in trouble will call us. We cannot save the entire galaxy. Then we save who we can, Ju said simply. We start with these people right now. Today, Han Solo felt something in his chest. Pride maybe, or hope. He had voted for this woman. Now he remembered why. Admiral Ju turned to him. Can we reach them in time if we use the experimental drives? Yes, we have been developing faster FTL technology. The Council does not know about it. We could reach Velran space in 72 hours. Experimental. Yunji raised an eyebrow. How experimental? The drives work. We have tested them. I recommend sending the stealth carrier Indomitable and her battle group. Captain Taeyang commands. He is one of our best. I know Taeyang. Ju said he was a child during the Harvest Wars, lost his parents in the fighting. He understands what is at stake. Ju, she made her decision with a single nod. Send them. Full authorization for combat operations. Rules of engagement are flexible. The Kryn do not surrender. Do not take prisoners, just stop them. Yes, Madame President, and someone wake up the old guard. If we are doing this, I want Counselor Jawan conscious. He was there for the Harvest Wars. He knows how the galaxy thinks. Orders went out immediately. Han Solo watched the command center shift from chaos to controlled purpose. This was what humanity did well. When the crisis was clear, when the mission was set, they moved like a machine. He opened a channel to the Indomitable. Captain Taeyang appeared on screen. He was young for a ship commander, only 35. But his eyes were old. Admiral, I heard the alert. What are we dealing with? Quote, Kryn swarm system, billions dying. You are going to stop it. Taeyang did not hesitate. Understood. We can launch in 4 hours. Crew is being recalled now. You have 3 hours. Use the experimental drives. Get there fast. The experimental. Taeyang grinned suddenly. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of a man who had been waiting for this. Finally, we get to see what these ships can really do, Taeyang Hansol said. Quietly, the galaxy has forgotten what we are capable of. They think we are a story now, something parents tell children to make them behave. You are going to remind them. I understand, sir. I hope you do, because when this is over, everything changes. We cannot go back to isolation, not after this. Taeyang and LT Lunkin GT's smile faded. Then we better make sure it is worth it. The channel closed. Hansol turned back to the main display. Somewhere in the command center, someone had pulled up old footage from the Harvest Wars. Human ships tearing through enemy fleets, cities burning. The things they had done to end the slavery. Jaiwu stood beside him watching the same footage. Do you think we are making a mistake? She asked softly. No, Madam President, I think we are making the only choice we can live with, even if the galaxy hates us for it. The galaxy already hates us, at least this way. We earn it by doing something good. 3 hours later, the Indomitable and her battle group launched from lunar orbit. They accelerated to speeds that should not have been possible, tearing open holes in space with their experimental drives. The journey would take 3 days. On Velen, Dezhou watched his world die and hoped the humans would arrive in time. In the Galactic Council chambers, automated systems detected the launch and sent alerts. By the time those Alerts reached important people, Earth's. Ships were already gone, moving faster than any tracking system could follow. The sleeping giant was awake, and it was very, very angry. The indomitable dropped out of faster than light travel. At the edge of Velen's system, Captain Taeyang stood on the bridge, watching the tactical display populate with targets. His face showed nothing but his hands gripped the command rail until his knuckles turned white. Report, he said. Lieutenant Dong Hyan worked his console quickly. Kryn forces concentrated around the primary planet. Estimated numbers, 30,000 capital ships, millions of smaller attack craft. Sir, they have consumed everything. The orbital stations are gone. The defense fleet is gone. I am reading massive casualties on the surface. How many? Survivors, approximately 1 billion. Down from 8 billion 3 days ago. Taeyang closed his eyes briefly, then opened them. Time to reach combat range, 20 minutes at full burn. Make it 10 and broadcast this message on all frequencies. I want everyone to hear it. He activated the communication system. His voice went out across the system, translated automatically into every known language. Attention, Kryn forces, this is Captain Taeyang of Earth Defense Ship. Indomitable, you are in violation of the Sentient Protection Act. You have 60 seconds to cease hostilities and retreat from this system. This is your only warning. Silence followed. On the tactical display, the Kryn forces did not change course. They continued their assault on the planet below. Dong Hyan looked up from his station. Sir, they are ignoring us. Of course they are, Taeyang said quietly. They have never met humans before. They do not know what we are, what we can do. He straightened. Show them all ships, weapons free. Execute pattern Delta 9. The Earth battle group moved forward, 6 ships. Total against 30,000. The odds did not matter. Corporal Mia watched from the engineering deck as her creations launched. She was small for a human, barely 5 ft tall, but her mind was brilliant. She had designed the Hellfire drone specifically for this type of combat. They were not just weapons, they were learning weapons. Each drone was the size of a car, covered in sensors and adaptive armor. As they flew toward the Kryn swarm, they scanned enemy movements, analyzed patterns, recorded tactics. Then they adapted. The first wave of drones hit the Kryn outer formation. Explosions lit space like stars. But these were just tests, learning runs. The drones recorded how the Kryn moved, how they defended, how they attacked. Then they shared that information with the second wave. The second wave was smarter. It avoided the defensive positions. It found weak points. It struck where the Kryn were vulnerable. The third wave was smarter. Still, by the 10th wave, the drones were predicting crimes before they happened. The insect ships flew into traps without knowing. They died in thousands. Hellfire efficiency increasing. Mia reported. Current kill rate is 1,400 enemy units per minute. Acceleration curve is stable. They are learning faster than the Kryn can adapt. Good, Taeyang said. Dong Hun, target those large structures near the planet. What are they analyzing, sir? Those are queen nodes. Kryn hive command centers. Each one controls approximately 5,000 ships. How many queen nodes total? 6. Then we hit 6 targets. Precision strikes. I want them gone in the next 4 minutes. Can we do that? Dong Hun and LT Unk and GT's fingers flew Across his console. Yes, sir, firing solutions locked. RAM. Do it, the Indomitable carried weapons that the Galactic Council had banned centuries ago, weapons that Earth had promised never to use again. Taeyang used them now without hesitation. Relativistic kinetic missiles launched from the ship's forward tubes. They accelerated to 90% of light speed, crossing the distance to their targets. In seconds, when they hit the Queen nodes, the explosions were visible from the planet's surface. Each Queen node died in a flash of light that lasted 3 seconds. When the light faded, nothing remained, not debris, not wreckage, just empty space and radiation. The Kryn swarm faltered immediately. Ships stopped coordinating. Some continued their attacks, others broke formation, some simply froze in space, waiting for orders that would never come. Swarm intelligence failing. Dong Hun reported, enemy effectiveness down by 70%. Then let us finish this. Taeyang opened a channel to the fleet. All ships free hunting. Destroy everything that does not surrender. The battle that followed was not really a battle, it was extermination. Earth ships moved through the Kryn formation like wolves through sheep. They did not miss, they did not hesitate, they did not show mercy. On the planet's surface, Daejo watched from a bunker window. The sky lit up with explosions. CR ships fell from orbit, burning as they entered atmosphere. He had spent 3 days watching death rain from above. Now he watched salvation rain. Instead, Elder Yuna stood beside him. They fight like demons, she whispered. They fight like humans, Daejo corrected. Above them, some Kryn forces began retreating. They turned away from the planet, trying to flee the system. Taeyang saw them go and made a decision that would define everything that followed. Pursue, he ordered. Sir, Dong Hyan looked up. They are retreating. The threat is neutralized. The threat is not neutralized until every Kryn ship is destroyed. They came here to consume, to eat an entire species. Now they will understand what it means to be prey. Taeyang and LT Unk and GT's voice was cold. No survivors. No exceptions. Hunt them down. The Earth ships accelerated. They were faster than the Kryn, much faster. They caught the fleeing insects within minutes. What happened next was brutal. Earth forces used tactics that had not been seen in 200 years. They herded the Kryn into kill zones. They used their adaptive AI to predict escape routes and block them. They cornered thousands of ships against gravity wells and destroyed them en masse. When a group of Kryn tried to hide in an asteroid field, Minso's drones found them and killed them. When others tried to scatter into deep space, the Indomitable's targeting systems tracked each one and eliminated them systematically. The battle lasted 6 hours. At the end, not a single Kryn ship remained functional. 30,000 vessels reduced to debris, millions of attack craft destroyed. The swarm that had killed 7 billion Velen was gone. Taeyang stood on his bridge, watching the tactical display clear of red markers. His crew was silent. They had done what was necessary. They had stopped a genocide, but the violence of it left them quiet. Sir, Dong Hyan said softly, we are receiving a transmission from the surface, multiple locations. The Veltran they are thanking us. Put it through. The speakers filled with voices, alien voices speaking in languages the computer translated. They were crying, praying, thanking the humans who had saved them. Some of the words were not even words, just sounds. Of relief and joy and grief all mixed. Together, Taeyang listened for a moment. Then he cut the transmission. Medical teams begin landing operations. Find survivors, treat the wounded, get food and water distributed, engineering. Assess infrastructure damage. We need to get their power systems working again. He turned to his crew. The fighting is over. Now comes the hard part. We have to help them rebuild. No. Dr. Hijin was already preparing her medical teams. She was a small woman with kind eyes and steady hands. She had trained for combat medicine but preferred healing. Captain, initial scans show massive casualties. Injuries from the bombardment. Starvation. Disease. This will take time. Then we take time. We do not leave until they are stable. The first shuttles launched. An hour later, they descended through an atmosphere thick with smoke from burning cities. Hijin piloted one herself. Accompanied by medics and supplies, they found Dezhou's bunker in the eastern continent. The door opened slowly, uncertain. Velrin survivors emerged into daylight. For the first time in days, they were thin, scared, traumatized. Hyan approached them slowly, hands open, showing she carried no weapons. She spoke in galactic standard. My name is Dr. Hijin. We are from Earth. We are here to help. You are safe now. Dezhou stepped forward. He was taller than the humans, his silver skin marked with dust and blood. You came, he said. His voice broke. We called and you actually came. You asked for help. We answer when people ask. Hijin smiled at him. Now, let us take care of you, all of you. That is what we do. In orbit, the Indomitable broadcast a message to the Galactic Council. It was simple and direct. Velrin system secure. Kryn threat eliminated. Earth forces remaining for humanitarian operations. Duration as long as necessary. The message reached Council chambers 12 hours later. When it did, panic spread across civilized space. The humans were back and they had just reminded everyone why the galaxy feared them. 2 weeks after the battle, Veltrin began to look like a world again instead of a graveyard. Earth engineers worked alongside survivors to rebuild. Power grids came back online. Water purification systems started functioning. Fields were cleared of Kryn remains and replanted with crops. Dezhou found himself working with Corporal Minnie almost days. She was assigned to infrastructure repair in his sector. Despite the language barrier, they communicated well. She showed him how to use Earth construction tools. He showed her where the old Velen systems connected. They were working on a water pump when Minso suddenly laughed. It was the first time Dezhou had heard a human laugh. The sound was strange but pleasant. What is funny? He asked. This pump. It is brilliant, simple design, but very efficient. Whoever engineered this was smart. She wiped grease from her hands. On Earth we would use something 3 times more complicated and probably break it within a year. You think our technology is good? Dezhou was surprised. But you have faster ships, better weapons. You cross the galaxy in days. We have different technology, not better, just different. Mio smiled at him. You know what I noticed about Velen engineering? Everything is built to last, built to be repaired. On Earth, we build things to be replaced. That is not better, that is just wasteful. They worked in comfortable silence. After that, Dezhou found himself relaxing around her. around all the humans. Actually, they were not what he expected. They joked while they worked. They shared food with Veltran survivors. They played with Velen children, teaching them Earth games. They were nothing like the monsters from the stories. Elder Yuna did not agree. She found Dejo that evening as he was eating. The meal was human military. Rations donated because Velen food production had collapsed. It tasted strange but filled his stomach. We need to talk, Yuna said. She looked older than before. The stress had aged her. Of course, Elder. Dejo sat down his food. Do you understand what you have done? Calling Earth, I saved our people. You reminded the galaxy that humans exist. And you made us dependent on them. Yuna sat heavily. The council is in chaos. I have been monitoring their communications. Some species want to thank Earth, others want to attack them preemptively. There is talk of war. The humans just saved us. The humans just demonstrated that they have technology beyond what the galaxy believed possible. They crossed 800 light years in 3 days. They destroyed a Kryn swarm that should have taken years to defeat. They did it in hours. Yuna's voice was hard. Do you know what that means? It means they have been holding back for 200 years. They stayed isolated and let us think they were weak. They are not weak. They are terrifying. Dejo thought about Mince laughing at a water pump, about Dr. H. Jin singing softly while she bandaged a child's wounds. They do not seem terrifying. Well, that is what makes them dangerous. They can be kind, gentle, helpful, and then they can kill 30,000 ships without hesitation. Yuna looked at him. Do you understand the burden you have placed on our people? We owe them everything, our lives, our world. How do we repay that debt? Before Dejo could answer, alarms sounded, but these were different, not emergency alarms, arrival alarms. New ships were entering the system. Dejo and Yuna rushed to the communications center. The screen showed a massive vessel dropping out of FTL near the planet. It was not a military ship. The design was too ornate, too diplomatic. Galactic Council Transport, the operator, announced they are requesting permission to land. Humans gave them permission. Another operator added, a shuttle is coming down. They want to meet with us. And with the humans, the meeting took place in what remained of the capital building. One wall was missing, open to the sky, but the main hall was intact. Dejo attended because he had made the call. Yuna attended because she was an elder. Captain Taeyang represented Earth. The council representative was a Qualine, a species that looked like walking crystals. Their name was Council Member Byamsu, and they had been assigned to handle the Earth situation. Let me be clear, Bamu said, their voice ringing like struck glass. The council did not authorize Earth intervention. You acted unilaterally. You ignored 200 years of agreement. Taeyang stood with his hands behind his back. His uniform was clean despite 2 weeks of working planet-side. The Velrin sent a distress call. We responded. Is there a law against helping people? There are laws about unauthorized military action, about use of banned weapons, about letting billions die. Taeyang and LT Uncan GT's voice was quiet but sharp. Please continue. Tell me which law says we should have watched an entire species get consumed because it was more convenient for the council. Byamsu stopped. That is not fair. Nothing about this is fair, but it is Done, the Veltrin are alive, the Kryn are gone. If the council wants to debate legality, fine, send your lawyers. Earth will respond. Eventually, when we finish helping these people, you cannot just we can, we did. And we will continue to do so. Taeyang gestured at the broken walls around them. Look at this place. Look at what the Kryn did. You declared this system lost, you abandoned them. Someone had to act. Byamsu's crystalline form shifted colors. Frustration. Daejo realized, you do not understand the implications. Other species are afraid, very afraid. Earth disappeared for 200 years. Now you return with advanced technology and military force. What are we supposed to think? Think whatever you want. We are here to help, not to conquer. Then why did you pursue the retreating CR? Why did you destroy every ship? That was not defense, that was extermination. The room went silent. Taeyang and LT Unk and GTS expression hardened. The Kryn are a consuming species. They do not negotiate, they do not stop, they eat everything and move to the next target. If we let them escape, they would have returned, or they would have attacked someone else. We ended the threat completely, permanently. If that makes us monsters, then I accept that label. But those people, he pointed at Daejo and Yuna, are alive because we were willing to be monsters. Bai Su had no response. If that is all, Taeyang said, I have work to do, fields to rebuild, hospitals to supply, children to feed. You can stay and help, or you can leave, your choice. He walked out. Bamu turned to Daejo. Is this what you wanted when you called them? Daejo thought carefully before answering. I wanted my people to live. The humans gave us that. Everything else I do not know, but I am alive to worry about it. 2 weeks ago, I would not have been. The council representative left shortly after, but the galaxy did not forget. And 3 days later, something new happened. The emergency channel activated again. Another species. Another desperate call for help. Then another, then 5 more in a single day. Word had spread. The humans had answered. The humans had won. The humans were protecting people again on Earth. President Jai Woo stood in the command center watching distress calls pile up. On her screens, Admiral Hansel stood beside her. We cannot respond to all of these, he said quietly. I know if we try, we will stretch ourselves too thin. We will fail, and then the galaxy will see us as weak again, or worse, as liars who promised help but could not deliver. Jiu touched one of the screens. A species called the Marin were under attack by raiders. 15 billion people at risk. What do? We make a choice. We decide who we are. Before she could respond, a door opened. An old man entered, supported by medical staff. He was over 200 years old, kept alive by stasis technology. His name was Counselor Huan. He had been there when Earth first joined the galaxy. He had fought in the Harvest Wars. Stop, he said, his voice weak but clear. Stop debating. I know what you are thinking. You think you have to choose between saving everyone or saving no one. That is not the choice. Then what is? Jiu asked. You choose to be honest. You tell the galaxy the truth. Earth will help when we can. We will not always win. We will not always arrive in time, but we will try, and we will be transparent about our limitations. Jae-Hyun moved to the command console. The staff helping him. The galaxy does not need perfect saviors. It needs honest ones. Show them that. Jai Woo looked at the distress calls again. Then She made her decision. Respond to all of them. Tell them we see their calls. Tell them we are evaluating each situation. Tell them we will help where we can, but we cannot save everyone. And she paused. Activate the emergency response protocol. Start recruiting. If we are doing this, we need more ships. More people. This is not just one mission anymore. This is our new purpose. The orders went out. Earth began mobilizing, not for conquest, not for glory, but to help. On Velran, Deja stood on a hill with Minso, watching Earth ships in orbit. Do you think they will be okay? He asked, taking on this burden again. Mia was quiet for a moment. We were never okay. The harvest wars broke something in us. We have been trying to fix it for 200 years. Maybe we cannot fix it by hiding. Maybe we fix it by helping others, by being what we should have been all along, above them. More ships jumped into the system. Earth was not going home. Earth was staying. And the galaxy would have to accept that. 3 months after the Battle of Veltran system, Earth held a vote. Every human old enough to understand the question participated. The question was simple. Should Earth keep the emergency channel open? Admiral Han Solo watched the votes come in from his office. The numbers climbed steadily. Yes votes, no votes. The whole planet was deciding its future in real time. President Jai Wu sat across from him. They both looked tired. 3 months of coordinating rescue operations across multiple star systems had drained them. Earth forces had responded to 12 distress calls. They had saved 8 species, failed to reach 3 others in time. One situation was still ongoing. What do you think the result will be? Ju asked. I think people are afraid. But I also think people are good. When you show them suffering and ask if they want to help, most will say yes. Han Solo pulled up a map of Earth on his screen. Every continent is voting the same way. The pattern is clear. Even if it means war, even if it means becoming the galaxy's peacekeepers again. We have been at peace for 200 years. Maybe that is long enough. Maybe it is time to remember that peace is something you fight for, not something you hide behind. On Velen, Dejo prepared for his own broadcast. He had been asked to speak to the galaxy about what happened, about what it meant to call Earth. He stood in the rebuilt communication center, the same place where he had sent the desperate signal months ago. Elder Yuna helped him adjust the recording equipment. She still looked worried, but there was something else in her expression now. Pride, maybe. Are you ready? She asked. No, but I will do it anyway. Two. The cameras activated. Deho knew that every species in the Galactic Council would see this message. He took a breath and began. My name is Dejo Ho. I am the one who called Earth. 3 months ago, my world was dying. The Kryn were eating everything. The Council declared us lost. I was told that calling Earth was the worst mistake anyone could make. I was told that humans were monsters, that they would destroy us just as surely as the Kryn. I did not care. My family was dead. My people were dying, so I pressed the button. I called the monsters. He paused, gathering his thoughts. They came in 3 days. They fought for 6 hours. They killed 30,000 enemy ships without losing a single vessel. It was the most violent thing I have ever witnessed. It was also the most beautiful, because when it was over, my people were alive. 1 billion of us, where there should have been none. Then the humans did something I did not expect. They stayed. They helped us rebuild, they shared their food when we were starving, they worked beside us in the ruins, they played with our children, they cried when we buried our dead. These monsters became our friends. The galaxy is afraid of Earth. I understand why. They have power beyond what anyone realized. They have weapons that should not exist. They can cross the galaxy faster than our fastest ships. They are terrifying. But I will tell you what I learned. They are terrified of themselves. They are afraid of what they can become, what they once were. They isolated themselves, not because they were weak, but because they were strong and did not trust themselves with that strength. That is why they deserve our respect, not our fear. They came when we called, even though it meant facing their own demons. Again, they saved us and asked for nothing in return. They are not the monsters the galaxy remembers. They are who we should aspire to be. Strong enough to protect others, wise enough to know when not to use that strength, brave enough to help even when it is difficult. So I say this to every species listening. If you are in danger, if you are dying, if the council has abandoned you, call Earth, press the button. They will answer, I promise you that. And if you are not in danger, if you are safe, then remember this. The humans did not have to help us. They chose to honor that choice, support them. Because they are not our masters, they are our friends, and the galaxy needs friends right now. The recording ended. Dejo stood in silence for a moment. That was good, Yuna said softly. Do you think anyone will listen? Some will, others will not, but you spoke truth. That is what matters. The message spread across the galaxy within hours. Reactions were mixed. Some species praised Earth, others warned against trusting humans. The council debated endlessly, but in the places that mattered, in the homes and cities across thousands of worlds, ordinary people saw the message and understood. Earth had changed, or maybe Earth had always been this way, and the galaxy had been too afraid to see it. On Earth, the vote concluded. President Jai Wu stood before cameras to announce the results. Admiral Han Sol stood beside her, behind them. Through the windows of the presidential hall they could see Seoul at night. Millions of lights, millions of people waiting to hear. The votes have been counted. Ju said the question was simple. Should Earth keep the emergency channel open? Should we continue to respond to distress calls from across the galaxy? The answer from the people of Earth is yes. 67% voted to keep the channel open. 67% of humanity has chosen to be part of the galaxy again. She paused, letting that sink in. I want to be clear about what this means. It means Earth will respond when species call for help, but we cannot save everyone. We cannot be everywhere. We have limits. We will fail. Sometimes we will lose people. We will arrive too late to the galaxy. I say this, we return not as conquerors, but as guardians. We do not seek to rule. We do not want territory or tribute. We want only to help where we can. Call us only in true need. Do not waste our time with politics or games, but know this: when you call, when the need is real, we will answer. We will come with everything we have, and heaven help anyone who makes us regret that choice. To the people of Earth I say this: you have chosen a difficult path. We will send our sons and daughters into danger again. We will lose some of them. The harvest wars hurt us deeply. This new mission will hurt us too, but we have also chosen to be who we really are, not isolated. Not hiding but present, active. Helpful. We have chosen to be the people. We tell ourselves we are in our best. Stories, the emergency channel remains. Open, the fleet is mobilizing, we are. Recruiting new crews, building new. Ships training new personnel, this is. Not a short-term mission, this is our future, let us make it one we can be. Proud of, the broadcast ended, around. The world, humans watched in silence. Some cried, some cheered, all of them knew that everything had changed. In space, Captain Taeyang received his new orders. The Indomitable would deploy to the outer rim where a plague ship threatened multiple systems. It would be dangerous work, difficult work, the kind of work that humans had avoided for 200 years. He looked at his crew, Lieutenant Dong Hyen, a tactical, Corporal Mino, preparing her drones, Dr. Haijin, checking medical supplies. They were ready, they had always been ready, all hands, Taeyang announced over the ship's communication system, prepare for departure, we have work to do on Veltrin. Dezhou stood on the rebuilt hill, where his city had once been. Children played in the valley below, Velrin and humans together, their laughter carrying. On the wind, construction drones flew overhead, building new homes. Fields had been planted, life was returning. Menio found him there. She had been reassigned to another mission, but had come to say goodbye. They stood together watching the sunset. The Velin sun was orange, different from Earth's sun, but beautiful in its own way. Do you think they will be okay? Dezhou asked. Your people taking on this burden again? Mio smiled. We were never okay. The harvest wars broke something in us. We tried to fix it by hiding, by pretending we were not what we are. Maybe that was wrong. Maybe we fix it by helping others, by being what we should have been all along. You will lose people. Ships will be destroyed. You might fail. Yes, we might, probably will sometimes. She looked at him, but we will try anyway. That has to count for something. It counts for everything. Dezhou said. You saved us. 1 billion people are alive. Because you tried, because someone answered when I called, then it was worth it, all of it, even the fear, even the risk. Minko offered her hand in the earth custom of farewell. Take care of your people, Deho, rebuild your world. Make it better than before. That is how you repay us. Not with gratitude or debt, but by living, really living. He took her hand. I will, I promise. She smiled and walked away, heading to the shuttle that would take her to her next mission. Dezhou watched her go. This small human who had helped rebuild his world with tools and laughter and an unwillingness to give up. Above them, stars began appearing in the darkening sky. Somewhere among those stars, the emergency channel was active, waiting for the next call, the next desperate plea. And when that call came, Earth would answer, because that was what they had chosen. Not isolation, not fear, but purpose. That night, a new distress signal reached Earth, a species called the Tauran under attack by raiders, 20 billion at risk. The call was desperate. The situation was impossible. In Seoul, Admiral Han Sol saw the alert. He looked at President Jiu. She looked at him. They both knew what had to be done. Send the nearest battle group, Jiu said, and send this message to the Tauran. The orders went out. Ships launched from lunar orbit, tearing holes in space as they accelerated. Behind them, Earth continued its work, building more ships, training more crews, preparing for a future where they would no longer hide. On the bridge of The Indomitable racing toward a plague. Ship in the outer rim, Taeyang looked at. The stars ahead. Somewhere in that darkness, people needed help, people he had never met. Species he knew nothing about, it did not matter they had called, Earth had answered, that was enough. In the communication center on Veltrin, the rebuilt equipment hummed softly, the emergency channel remained open, broadcasting into the void and across the galaxy on worlds where hope had died. People heard a message that changed everything. This is Earth. If you need help, call us. We will answer. We will come. You are not alone anymore. The galaxy would never be the same. Neither would humanity. But perhaps that was okay. Perhaps being the monsters that saved people was better than being perfect and doing nothing. Perhaps trying and sometimes failing was better than never trying at all. The sleeping giant had awakened, and it had chosen compassion over fear, action over safety, purpose over peace. It was a choice they would make again and again, for as long as anyone needed help.